community? Or do you say no to more spending and the status quo? A town hall such as this is really important for decisions such as this. This is an opportunity for us to come together as friends, neighbors, acquaintances, as people with, as I said, the shared interest in the future of this community. We hope that you'll leave with shared information. Whatever you decide when you mark your ballot in May, we hope when you leave here tonight that you have left a little better informed, maybe a little more aware of what the issues are and the choices that face all of us. I urge you to listen to what you hear tonight and be prepared to ask your own questions so that you leave here with a clear mind about the things that are of interest or that bother you. You won't hear from the opponents of the sales tax this evening. They were invited to participate, and for their reasons they chose not to. City officials, however, decided, perhaps against their better judgment, to step into the lion's cage tonight. We've had some interesting conversations in the past few weeks as journalists and they as city officials, and we hope that to bring some of that information to you this evening. Here's how the format will go this evening. I've invited the city to give us a brief 15-minute presentation about the sales tax, what it is, how it will be applied. It is not a sales pitch. As Adam knows the importance of staying within budget, we will stay within the 15 minutes. After that, I will then spend about 30 minutes posing questions to the mayor and the city manager about various aspects of the sales tax, about the city budget, about future spending. And then we're going to open it up to questions from the floor. What we'd like to point out right now, here and now, that we're going to take questions from the floor, not speeches, all right? And I'll be a pretty aggressive police officer when it comes to shutting people off who want to make a speech instead of asking a question, because this is an opportunity to learn, and there'll be other opportunities and other forums where you can express your opinions. We're broadcasting live tonight on Facebook, so we can provide the community as many ways as possible to get this information. As you saw, some of you saw as you came in, we're also conducting sort of an informal straw poll. Back in the back corner, there's an easel with a yes, no, or undecided, and we invite you to take a sticker and make your vote and give us all some idea of what the mentality and the views are in the room. So at this point, I would like to introduce the folks probably well known to most of you. To my left is the Honorable Mayor Ron Perini, and to my right is Adam Brown, the city manager, essentially the CEO for the city government of Ontario. I want to thank all of you for being here, for taking time from your schedules to come and to listen and to participate, because that's what a town hall is about participating. It's not about people up here sitting here just talking to you. So let's have a robust evening, a good evening, a civil evening. This is not social media tonight. We're going to be respectful throughout. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Adam and Ron, and away you go.
Adam, go ahead. Well, first of all, I want to thank the Mount Airy Enterprise for hosting this town hall, and I appreciate them bringing folks together so we can learn. I also want to state what I'm able to do and what I'm not able to do as a city manager. I'm here to answer questions, to state facts, to answer about studies or budgets or stuff like that. And as a city official, I'm not allowed to advocate, though, for. So I'll stick with the facts. The mayor or any of our elected officers are allowed to advocate for things. So when we get to that type of questions, then the mayor will take the mic. And otherwise, I'll stick to, as they say in the movies, just the facts, man.
Can you speak up just a little bit, please?
I will hold this closer.
Thank you.
I was not blessed with a loud voice, so I have to use a mic. I just want to start off telling you a little bit about how we got to a sales tax discussion in this community. We looked back in 2016 about the five-year forecast of this community and where we're going to be with expenses and revenues, with what we knew at that time. And we saw that we were in a structural disbalance. Our revenues in the long term were not meeting the expenditures. That's just to keep with what we had. So we set out on a path after that. We looked at all the alternatives. We went through fuel tax, franchise fees, which franchise fees have gone up as those contracts have come up for renewal. Hotel tax, we looked at the possibility of doing something more there. A food and beverage tax is another alternative that we looked at. A local option levy we looked at. Vaping tax, a marijuana tax. We looked at every possibility, and they all have their benefits and they all have their weaknesses. And some of them are limited in what they can do. Some of them are just not sufficient for what they can bring to the community. So the city council, after reviewing all those things, said the sales tax is the only thing that can fix us in the long term. And so that's how we started focusing on that. I just want to emphasize about what the city councils have done. Some of you past councilors may be sitting in the room, but these past councilors have made difficult decisions. We used to have a golf course before I got here. I like to play golf. I haven't played golf since I've been here because I'm too busy. But, they closed the golf course. We had to turn the library into a special district, which meant a new tax on people's property. They've reduced police, or reorganized the police to accommodate less staff. They've deferred equipment replacement, which has increased the maintenance cost on the stuff that we do have. We have outsourced, privatized our finance department, we've privatized our public works department, and we've privatized, I'm missing one.
Jacobs.
Yeah, public works, I said, and our building inspection department, actually, was the other one. We have consolidated 911 dispatch with the county. A lot of these things were the right things to do, regardless of the financial position, because it saved money, better service in some cases. So none of these were easy. They were all done, though, in the interest of trying to keep Ontario moving forward. I laud the elected officials that had to make those difficult decisions, and there are more difficult decisions to come. So we're here to listen, to answer questions, and to provide feedback. So, yeah.
I think to inject right now, I truly believe that the safety and the quality of life is at risk here in the city of Ontario. If that 1 penny tax is denied, the consequences over the next few years, I truly believe, will be devastating for the decline of services that will occur. I saw a sign when I came in, and the sign was very large, and it said no to our sales tax. It was a nice sign, but I got to tell you, just say no right now is truly not the answer at this particular moment in time. Like the city manager discussed, the cuts of the golf course, aquatic center, farming out our 911 center, not filling positions with the police and fire, cutting back on road maintenance, not filling our front desk person. We don't have an HR person at City Hall right now, trying to save money and trying to do it ourselves. The cutbacks that we're looking at down the road is more serious than anything we have experienced in the past. In the past, we had those extra quality of life issues that were running in our city, the aquatic center, the golf course, better roads, that sort of thing. We're down to the bare nubs at City Hall. I think we can get into, as your questions come out from the audience, the number of calls for service that we've had, not only for our police department, fire department, public works, that sort of thing. The increases have been astronomical. The changes in the laws of Oregon have somewhat added to our challenges here in the city. When the state of Oregon decriminalized for first-time users meth, heroin, cocaine, it brought an element into our city that we have not experienced before. And I think if you really take a look at it, the challenges are getting tougher and tougher as we move our community forward. It really, truly is not sufficient to just say no. Anybody could do that. It is more important, I think, as a community, and one of the reasons why we're here tonight, is to really get involved, be part of the solution, run for city council, run for mayor, join a committee, do something more than just say no. With that, I'll hand it back to Les.
All right, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Adam. And let's have some fun. So first of all, let's back up on the sales tax a little bit. Adam, maybe you can take this question. What is taxed and what isn't?
It's a retail tax, but there are exceptions or exclusions from it. Agriculture exclusions are the same as we tried to line it up with tax forms. So there's agricultural exclusions, there's exclusions for wholesalers. So you come to the city and you're a wholesale purchaser, we give you a certificate that says you can take to the store, wherever you do your shopping, and say I'm tax-free on this purchase. And what am I missing? There's automobiles, yeah. There's automobiles are excluded from that. We really didn't want to put a disadvantage between Oregon and Idaho for automobiles, although there is now a state tax on automobiles for Oregon. So I feel like I'm missing something, Mayor. Yes, thank you. Services. Services, for example, you go to a tire store, the labor is not going to be taxed, but the tire would be taxed. So services are excluded from it. Dentists, doctors, pharmaceuticals are excluded. I think that covers it.
So the proposal is a 1% sales tax. There's been quite a bit of concern across the community that you put the 1% in, and that's just the start, that it will be raised by the city year after year, time after time. What safeguards is the city anticipating, or how do you address that concern?
Well, I think quite simply, if you take a look at the two measures that are going to be on the May ballot, the first measure is whether we want the sales tax passed or not. The second measure is extremely important, just like the first one. It puts a cap on the sales tax where the city council, it actually is in the writing of our charter, where the city council cannot at any time raise that sales tax above 1%. We can take it upon ourselves to maybe lower it, but not to raise it. The only way that it can be raised is by the vote of the people in the future.
Well, that brings a natural question. Why didn't the city go to the voters to ask for approval of the sales tax in the first place?
Amen.
Because I think if you really take a look at all of the the complexities of how we got here. The sales tax was put before the people many, many years ago. I think it was 2004 with Mayor Kamek at the helm. And the Just Say No group did go out and they voted it down. Well, as the city council changed, and it changed dramatically, we have probably one of the most diversified and educated city councils that we have ever had in the past. Are you finished? The city council that we have truly represents our community. And when we were voted into that position, we were voted to make decisions for our community that were sometimes tough to make. We realized we were going to take heat for the possibility of putting that 1% in. And we did take heat. The people of the community spoke, and they brought forth a referendum that actually got the 1% tax voted on by the people in May. We also listened to the people after that, and we heard that the possibility of raising that tax over and over and over, and that's the reason for the second measure. We listened to the community. We listened again to the community when they talked about transparency. We have now installed a system called OpenGov. OpenGov gives total transparency of our city, what we're doing, and anybody in this room and out of the room can access what we are doing pretty much on a monthly basis. You want me to shut up, don't you?
You answered the question 20 minutes ago.
Well, there you go.
We're going to give them some latitude, but we'll try to keep them in the corral a little bit. So, a critical decision was made by the city. I'm interested in knowing, did you decide the tax rate first and then decide how to spend the money? Or did the city decide how much money it needed and found a tax rate to generate that?
I'll answer that.
We, as a community, were struggling. Every year, we had to figure out what to do to stay within our budget. So what we did, and Adam Brown was very instrumental in this and actually bringing all of these numbers together as well as Oster Group. We actually figured out how much demand or services that the community wanted, and then we figured out how much we would have to put as far as a tax goes to meet those demands. As an example, at the time that we were talking about this in the beginning, we had a discrepancy of monies coming in and our expenses of around $900,000 in our general fund. We had, of course, a street fund that was bleeding because of the lack of money that we had in the street fund. We figured at the time we were short approximately $600,000. We also figured that because of the needs for police and fire and streets, those numbers were plugged in. Now, after we plugged all the numbers in, then we had to figure out really what percentage to actually place. Then we called in an outside, what do you call those people? Consultant. So that we were not the ones that actually determined what the percentage was, but with their educated guess, went into the community, brought the figures to us as far as what sales were actually being created in our community, because we didn't know. We had no way of knowing. And then from there, that determined the 1%.
Okay, thanks. So I'd like to know if it's accurate that the city has taken the position that if the sales tax fails, that there will be yet another fee imposed either on sewer or water bills or some other fee to help safeguard the city against layoffs.
The council has not taken a position on that. They've received options for solutions to meet your new numbers. The city government has to go on. We don't have a choice of that. The city government has to live within its means. We don't. Cities aren't allowed to go in debt, so your city has always lived within its means. So it'll continue to operate. It's just a matter of whether we have to cut or there is an option of adding like a public safety fee. So the city council and the budget committee convened in February, I believe, and we just took to them some of the options that we wanted them to start thinking about. Are we going to lay off police officers, or is it more important that we add $1 to the utility fund?
Well, let me follow that up. You as the city manager recommend to the council spending levels. Will you recommend an additional fee if the 1% sales tax fails? That's a yes or no.
Johnny on the spot. I'll tell you this, we are working on the budget right now. We knew we were going to be in a tough position. That's why I didn't fill 2 of my positions, and we left some officers' positions vacant. For a long time, we put a great deal of strain on the officers we had, so we filled them and told them that their positions may be cut with the budget. So I cannot honestly look at you and say I haven't made that decision yet. But what I'm saying is, well, I told you about, we have a structural deficit. The savings that we've done this year by doing without, delaying things, it may continue us on for another year, but we've still got a structural deficit to deal with. We'll know that within the next 3 weeks of what we'll be recommending to the city council, because the budget committee is coming up in April.
Can I just add a little bit?
Well, certainly.
I just wanted to mention to everybody in the audience, one of the most important pieces of literature that's out there is this communique from the city. This is the list of what the city will possibly do if the sales tax does not pass, and what the city will possibly do if the sales tax does pass. And
Mr. Mayor, let me interrupt and ask you the question. If the sales tax goes down, will you recommend to the council that an additional fee be put in to help stave off those reductions?
absolutely, without question, because the safety of the community is extremely important. If we had to decrease the number of officers on the street, and if you take a look at the sheets that we have in the back, as far as the violent crimes and the property crimes in our community, if we decrease the number of officers on the street, it would be devastating for our community. So yes, I would recommend in this particular case, a $9 fee.
Okay, thank you for your candor. That's helpful to all of us. So I want to take a little closer look now at city spending. But first off, the total city budget for the current year is about $28 million, correct? Adam, why don't you address where that $28 million comes from? But I think it's important for people to understand that there are lots of different colors of money in that fund.
Yeah, that's a great question. We are, as governments, required to do a certain type of accounting, like modified accrual accounting and fund accounting. And so there's pots of money. And so we get questions, just to make the point, like, where is the splash pad? How can you afford to put a splash pad in? Well, that's a trust and agency account that has received donations. And it's also, we've used 12.5% out of an 8% hotel tax to, that money is dedicated, the purpose of that money is to bring people into the community. So the council designated 2 years of that funding to that splash pad, so it has to stay with that project. Doesn't impact the general fund. So the general fund of the city is really close to about almost $8 million. All the other funds are the water fund, the stormwater fund, sewer fund. Those are the largest ones, the airport fund. But the public works.
If I may, Ron, that money can only be spent for those specific things too, right? You can't move it from one, you can't take water fund money and pay a police officer, is that correct?
That's right. I wish we could, but that wouldn't be true accounting. The water, by law, the amount you pay for water has to be spent on water, and we are not allowed to over-collect, to charge more than it actually costs to deliver the water. The same with wastewater. We are only allowed to use those revenues to treat wastewater, and we're not allowed to collect more than it costs us to do that. So it has to stay within that bucket.
So what I'm hearing you say is that out of the 28 million, a lot of it is walled off. You cannot use it for opening a swimming pool or paving a street that's not paid for in the street fund, right?
Yeah, that's right. I had a mentor, my first job, and he said, Adam, 95% of the money is already spoken for. You only get to argue over 5% of it. And that's so true. There's really a very small margin of money that we actually get to choose for proactive services.
So, Mr. Mayor, city government does things that it has to do, in other words, that is required by law or regulation. Then the city does things that it has the discretion to do. It is not required by law to operate a swimming pool or to do beautification projects. How does the city know what citizens want to spend the public money on?
Well, that's fairly simple.
Well, good, be a short answer then.
Well, I'll tell you, when we as a council are elected, each one of us actually represents a segment of our community. And in most cases, it doesn't overlap. We have a tremendous amount of diversity on our council. And we get input from our community every single day as city councilors and, of course, I as mayor. I've been passing out my business cards for the last, my mayor's card for the last 3+ years. And on that card is my cell phone number. Anybody in the community has the capabilities of calling me, texting me, leaving messages, or whatever.
What is that phone number, Mr. Mayor?
It is 541-709-8373. And if anybody wants a card, I'll give it to them before they leave. But more importantly, we do have a tremendous amount of communications from our community on an individual basis. We unfortunately don't get a tremendous amount of participation on the city level at our city council meetings. We would be absolutely thrilled if we had more people coming in and discussing the challenges that they have in the community, what they expect of us. But truly, we do have a tremendous amount of communication from our constituents in the community, giving us enough information to make the right decisions. And we have made the right decisions.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the spending a little bit. So this is probably a good question for Adam. So in the past 5 years, has the city overall taken in more money, taken in less money, or held even when you look at all the money coming into the city?
Well, I think I'd speak about the general fund really, and that has increased at maybe a 1.5% rate, I think is about the average for the last 5 years. So you could say that it's increased a little bit.
Okay.
Now, can we?
How much money at 1%?
1.5%?
Yeah, how much?
Well, it's
per
8
year?
million, almost $8 million now, so if you backtrack out of that.
That's easier to comprehend than just.
I was just wondering if he can expand on that and talk about the expenses. You know, the rate coming in and our expenses going out are the challenges that we're working with.
Well, you anticipated my next question.
There you go.
Good job. Here's the dollar. And I should also say for the record that the mayor and the city manager had no advance notice of the particular questions they're facing tonight. I obviously gave them general ideas about what we were talking about, but they are hearing the questions for the first time, as you are. But if city revenue has continued to go up, why does the city find itself in trouble? Most people, when their incomes go up, they are doing better.
That's a great question. You know, a lot of you I recognize because you came out to our meetings about a year ago, and we talked about the budget drivers there, and they really haven't changed. One of the big budget drivers is the public employee retirement system, otherwise known as PERS. And it's something we have very little control over, but it has a lot of control over us. And, you know, I've heard the comment, well, just don't pay. The challenge is that we get revenue sharing from the state, and that philosophy just doesn't work because we get more money from them than the PERS is. So they would just withhold their PERS from us if we were to take that strategy. Our current obligation, though, if you think of this, is about $8 million for the employees' retirement system right now. I'm sorry, $1 million out of $8 million, which is a staggering number. And just last year, it went up $128,000 for the next biennium. They do the actuarial studies every 2 years, and so we have they gave us an estimate of the next biennium, and the next biennium, it's going to go up by another $230,000. So you can easily see where that 1.5% gets sucked up by. It's in the retirement system, and it's something we have little control over. In the long term, the state has made changes to it that will relieve public organizations of the burden through they've done a new hybrid plan for the last, I think, 4 years. Employees coming in under that system will cost a lot less. But until those that are in the current system go through the system, then we'll continue to experience that challenge.
So in recent years, if I'm reading the budget documents correctly, the city has added positions. It's added a code enforcement officer, added a community development director. It's increased a Parks and Recs position to full-time. Where did the money for those new positions come from?
Well, so we talked about this a little bit last fall, you know.
We're still talking about it.
Yeah, we're still talking about it. When I speak of cuts and stuff, I'm looking back to the 2000s where this started. To my knowledge, we have always had a planner, or whether the name has maybe changed. Right now, it's the Community and Economic Development Director. To my knowledge, we've always had a planner. The code enforcement, they did increase that, and that's one of those things you alluded to a little bit before about hearing the pulse of the community. and when the city councilors hear a lot from people that we've got to get rid of the blight and the unsightly things, the graffiti, the city council listens and adds a half position to that.
But, and if I may interrupt, where did the money come from?
It's general fund money. It's from the same 1.5% increases that they've been seeing.
Okay, so the city had money to expand city services, correct?
Sure.
Okay. So, Ms. Mayor, I'll follow up on that with you. You opened your remarks with the grave threats you see to public safety in the community. If that's the case, and if the city had money to create additional positions, why didn't it create additional positions in the police department?
Because from the demand of the citizens, if we as a city were just concerned about public safety, roads, the basic services of water and sewer, then we would cut all of our departments that had nothing to do with the basic services. The community demands more than that. So we have to spread ourselves thin enough right now to offer those services. If we cut the rec department, yes, that would save us money. But it will also cause a tremendous amount of problems and heartache in the community when all of a sudden we have 700, 800, 1,000 kids running around our community with basically no recreation, no place to really expound all that energy that they have. And what are they going to do? Getting into a little bit of problems, talking with the gangs, graffiti goes up, our police department now is overwhelmed. So we have to have a happy medium. It's not just about public safety. It's not just about water and sewer and our streets. It's about more than that. We have to provide the services that are in the highest demand by our citizens, and that's what we've done.
I'll also add to that something that Les covered in his newspaper last year was that we had some good years of public safety, lower crime rates. I wasn't here when those decisions were made, but you make decisions based on what's going on right at this time. And the council made those decisions in some good years for police. Now, as just covered yesterday's Now Here Enterprise, the spike that we saw this past year, you could see that if we knew that was going to happen, we might have done something different, might have recommended something different. But you make decisions with the data and the information that you have at that time.
Fair enough. So if I'm reading city's material correctly with the forecast, a 1% sales tax in the first year will generate about $3.8 million. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and that is general fund money that the city council and you as the city manager can spend within legal purposes, of course, but you can spend